Right, we're talking macro phases, and this is probably one of the most important modules out of this whole entire course because this is the topic that gets you to go from stuck, frustrated to, oh, I understand it now. All right. And just a review of macros. A lot of you already know this, but what macros are obviously are protein, carbon, fat. It is the composition at which your food is made of. Protein helps you build and repair muscle, a lot of other stuff, but that's the main one. Carbs, ton for energy and metabolism. It is essential for your energy and metabolism. Do not let other humans try to convince you different of cutting all your carbs out. And then third one here, fat is for hormone regulation and brain function. So if I'm looking at all those three, all three are very important. All right. There's not one better than the other or one that's bad. They are important for your body for different reasons. Okay. Macros, very important. Why do we track macros and how do we track macros? So you set goals for protein, carb, and fat. You might have just watched the video of how to set your macros or how to set your first starting macros. That is what we do. So we want to set goals for protein, carb, and fat that you are trying to work up to every single day. And you'll learn in this one is there's going to be different goals for your macros depending on how your body responds and which phase that you're in macro phases. Okay. Why do you track macros? Because you do not need to eat chicken and broccoli every single day. It will help you strategically work to the goals that you have, builds a lot of awareness around food and portion sizes, and helps you get to your long-term goals. All right. Every single client that we've had has been through either a reverse diet, a building, or a fat loss season or phase. All right. These phases are essential because what a lot of women do is they say, cool, I'm tracking macros. They get it from my macro calculator online or they get it from my Fitness Pal because they give you the data. And what they don't realize is that's like a quarter of the equation. All right. Yes, I'm proud of you for starting in the right trajectory, but that is a quarter of what actually gets you to your goals. We combine macro tracking with macro phases, going after your goals. This is when it gets good. And so you might be saying like, Kels, what are the macro phases? You talk about them, like what does that mean? What are they? Macro phases are specific phases that you will take your body through to achieve a certain goal, okay? And you will adjust your intake appropriately to match that goal in that phase. Hypothetical, or like for example, all right, I played basketball. I was a basketball athlete when I was in high school. My in-season for sport would be October to March. All right. Hopefully we would go to states, October to March. And because I was in season that time, I was focused. We were trying to win. That was our focus, right? But if I would have been in season all year round, what would have happened? My body would have burnt out. We probably would have lost a lot more games, not only because there were more games, but because our body's just worn down. And we wouldn't get to our in season where we're at our peak performance. The same thing happens with your body, okay? You need an in-season and an off-season. Your body should not be in a fat loss phase all year round or even majority of the year round. I'm going to say that again for all my women out there that have been on this diet roller coaster like I was back in the day. Your body you should not have the goal of trying to lose fat all year round or be in a fat loss phase all year round. What will happen is you're going to burn your body out. You're not going to actually achieve the goals because it's not working smart and it's just not the most effective route. All right. So what this then cues into is different phases to achieve different goals. Okay. In each phase, there's a specific focus. There is a specific reason for that phase, combining your nutrition, training, and mindset. Okay. You will see in later modules, I have whole sections dedicated to each phase. Fat loss phase, building phase, reverse dieting phase. You will see in those modules, I have, hey, this is the training focus. This is the mindset focus. This is the actual nutrition focus. And so if we want to achieve your goals short and long term, these phases are essential for you, essential. And I'll give you an example here. Let me make myself small. This is Elizabeth. Elizabeth came in, she had post 2 babies. So she had 2 babies a few years prior. She's a previous bodybuilder and she was actually working with a coach at this time. She came to us eating 1,400 calories at her maintenance, which is insanely low. I will never talk bad about another team or a coach. However, if she's at her maintenance at 1,400 calories, that is like how much her body just needs to survive on. Okay. So no wonder her body was not responding because it was way too low of an intake. So she came in and her actual maintenance was like 2,200. So a lot different than what she had her maintenance at prior. Okay, so she came in and I took her through the phases. I took her through a reverse diet to slowly increase her metabolism and really heal her body. Then we went into a small little building phase just to get her body stabilized. Then we went into a fat loss phase. This is where she was really focused on leaning out, seeing muscle definition. Obviously sincere. Okay, after that, you don't stay in a fat loss phase, you go into a reverse diet, and then she hit her building phase. So you'll see, because we were able to work smart, not just work hard and push her body into the ground, she actually saw progress. She actually saw results. This is where the concept of working smart is a non-negotiable. Okay, I see so many women honestly working a lot harder than I do and a lot of our team does, because they're just working hard versus working smart. We need both to achieve goals. You cannot just do nothing and achieve goals, but you can also not just push your body into the ground and pretend like it's going to get there. And so this is where working smart macro phases come in. So macro phases, there are three main ones, okay? First one is a fat loss phase. That's your cutting phase or fat loss phase. Those words can be interchangeable. The goal for this phase is to lean out and lose fat, obviously, okay? So it is to see the muscle definition, is to see your body frame lean out. That is a fat loss phase. That is our in season. That is our short little blip out of the whole entire year, okay? Secondly is reverse dieting. You'll utilize this to build your metabolism back up for body recomposition, gain muscle, lose fat, or an exit strategy after a fat loss phase. Like I just talked to you about Elizabeth, she was in her fat loss phase. She saw a lot of progress. I could not keep her there for long term. I had to reverse diet so she could sustain those results and see those results long term, okay? Cutting phase, reverse diet, build metabolism back up, get your body back up to its maintenance. And then we have a building phase. So this is either to maintain or build muscle or optimize your health, freaking get strong, put some big PRs up. So we have cutting phase, lean out, reverse diet, build metabolism back up, building phase, build muscle, maintain muscle. Okay, you will utilize these different phases to achieve different goals. I personally have been through each of these three phases multiple times. It is not just a one and done. It's not just, oh, you go through a reverse diet once and then you never do it again. Or, oh, you only have one shot at a fat loss phase and then you're done. That is not how it works. You can, and most likely you will, go through these phases multiple times to get your not just end goal, but to get to reach more goals in the future. All right. I am 7 or 8 years into this by now. I've taken myself through many phases before. But now I'm really focused on, in a building phase, I'm building muscle. So this is something I still actively do, especially when I have bigger goals that I'm trying to reach, okay? And so first, let's talk reverse dieting. I'm going to show you these pictures initially, okay? Each of these women, which I'll talk with you through how to do it, why we do it. Each of these women, this is their first picture, are eating at least plus 400 calories more in this second picture. And this is the phase that majority of women come in needing to have at the beginning, okay? And so what the goals are in a reverse diet is first body recomposition. So this might be build muscle and lose fat, each of which one of these have been. Build muscle and lose fat. Secondly is to increase your metabolism and or hormonal function. Let me show you my hands for a second. Let me demonstrate something. So say your intake, your maintenance intake where you quote unquote should be at to not gain or lose weight, say it is 2,000 calories, okay? But say you come in and you're eating 1,400 calories pretty consistently. You're not really seeing results, you're frustrated, you're not even sometimes hungry. And so what will happen, and this happens with so many women, is they're like, Kels, I'm eating 1,400, I'm not seeing results, what's going on here? And so a lot of times they think, well, maybe I just need to drop it down to 1,200 or drop it down to 1,000. And I'm like, no, we don't want to do that. All right. Because what happens here is when your body's at 1,400, but really it needs 2,000, what will happen is your metabolism will start to down-regulate to meet you with where you're inputting in your body at. And so it's not going to function at this high level because if it did, it doesn't have enough fuel. So it will slowly start to slow down. Our hormones will start to down regulate and shift to meet you where your intake is at. Okay, so what happens if you just keep going lower? Slowly down regulates again, lower, slowly down regulates. And then you have a race to the bottom with zero results. And that's frustrating. And it's not great for your body. Do not advocate that in any way. And so what we need to do, and this is usually hard to conceptualize. It was hard for me to conceptualize because in the fitness industry, all you hear is eat less, eat less, eat less. And a lot of times that is not the case, especially for women. And so what we need to do is, she's 1,400 here. We need to slowly increase our intake to 1,600. What happens to metabolism? Oh, she's fueling me more. Oh, she's actually giving me the food that I need. Let me start to regulate my metabolism. Let me start to increase my metabolism. Okay, then I'm going to bump to 1,900. Oh, she's giving me more food. Let me start to bump up my metabolism. Let me get it to actually work more effectively and efficiently. And so before you know it, you're eating 400, 600 more calories, and your body is changing. Every single one of these women, you're going to see on the next slide, every single one of them are eating more, and it is obvious how much their body has changed, right? It is so hard to honestly conceptualize because it is contradictory to a lot of what we hear. But this is why reverse dieting, slowly and strategically increasing your intake, will help you body recomp, will help your metabolism, will help your exit strategy post-fat loss phase, and will help you increase strength and performance. It is imperative, okay? If you go into a fat loss phase, you need a reverse diet after that so your body is in a good state. All right, so why will you do this, okay? We would utilize this if somebody came in under eating for a long period of time, maybe with not even being aware of it. Okay, we have a lot of women come in that don't even realize they're under eating. We would utilize reverse dieting. We would utilize this as an exit strategy post fat loss phase. So say Elizabeth, for example, got to her goal, beautiful. We need to slowly increase her intake in a reverse diet to get her body to respond and not just flip-flop 180 or rebound. You might have heard about the term rebound, the body rebounding after a fat loss phase. That's because you have no exit strategy to actually sustain those results. And sometimes this is also needed before any fat loss phase. For a lot of women coming in that have undereat for a long period of time, it is a non-negotiable to reverse diet instead of just putting them into a fat loss phase, because that would do exactly the opposite of what they want and it would not help their body. Okay. So like I said, we would do this history of under eating or very low metabolic function. If you're like, Kelsey, I'm eating 1,200 and I'm not even hungry, that is a huge red flag that says, hey, metabolism is not working in the capacity that we want it to work. Okay. So, or I don't eat till 12 o'clock and I'm just not hungry every morning. That gives me a huge indication of where our metabolism and our metabolic function is at. We need this to increase our metabolic function. We are not little men. We are not just tiny men that can just not eat and lose weight. We are different. Our hormones are different. So we need to work with our body. Okay. And then how will we do this? Like I showed you in the hands demo, is we will slowly and strategically, I place strategically, we will slowly and strategically increase that intake to allow your body to thrive. Okay. Increase your intake, sometimes even decrease cardio for those that are coming in doing it, to allow your body to get to that maintenance intake. So this is so stinking important when we are talking about really optimizing your body and getting to your goals. And so for example, these are two individuals that might be beneficial for a reverse diet. So one example here is a client goes into a cutting/fat loss phase for her wedding. She had a wedding. This is exactly what she did. All right. She went into a cutting or fat loss phase for her wedding. She wanted to lean out. She wanted to see it. Her maintenance was 2,100 calories. Her fat loss phase that she ended at was about 1,400 calories. Okay. We cannot just keep her at 1,400 and pretend like she's going to stay there forever. Not great. Will not actually see any results then long term, and her body will rebound. Okay. So what is our plan? Our plan is to reverse diet to her maintenance intake for about 6 to 8 weeks so she can maintain those results and gain muscle. We are really trying to get her body at a better state. when you're reverse dieting, you try to get to your maintenance intake right there. So that is example number 1. Example number 2, client comes in wanting to lose 20 pounds. See definition, see that her muscle tone, right? Her maintenance is at 2,000 calories. Her intake that she was at was about 1,500 with weight not moving much, and she's pretty inconsistent some days. Sometimes she has 250 gram carb. Other days she's at 90 gram carb. So she's kind of here and there, all right? What we would do, and her goal is to lose weight, her goal is to lean out, okay? Well, listen to this. We do not just drop her down to 1,300. That's not what we do, all right? What we do is we take her into a reverse diet for body recomposition. She needs to build muscle. Muscle is also important for your metabolism. She needs to build muscle to not only see the physical results that she wants to see, but to get her body at a state where we can go into a fat loss phase. So we slowly and strategically reverse diet her to either go into a building phase where she's just at her maintenance, or a fat loss phase if her body is ready for it, okay? Those are 2 great examples on reverse dieting when we would utilize them right there. So like I said, reverse dieting is where low intake, we slowly and strategically bring you up to what your maintenance intake, or a little bit below your maintenance intake, what it is, okay? That is reverse dieting. All right, so let's talk through building phase, all right? This is one of the most underrated phases. If I could make the building phase sexy and be like, oh yeah, every woman, like, you need this, I would. This is a phase that I didn't even know existed when I first started, or I was nervous to go into because I'm like, oh, well, no, but I want to lean out, right? This is imperative for every single woman. This is imperative, okay? What the goal of the building phase is, and the reason I call it building phase versus just a maintenance phase, is because regardless, like, we're actively working, right? Maintenance, we're not just maintaining, like, we're still putting in effort, building in time. It is an active phase. So I personally, you might hear a maintenance phase. I love calling it a building phase because we are still actively working and pursuing towards a goal, okay? So what goals here is you might even gain muscle or gain strength, okay? Or you might be maintaining muscle in maintaining strength. This does not just mean having to hulk up. This might also mean maintenance, all right? Optimizing your metabolic function and hormonal function. You might have a performance goal. You want to deadlift 300 pounds. This is a great phase for you. And you allow your body to recover from a fat loss and or reverse diet. And so just like I said in the previous video, Elizabeth, for example, we reverse dieted her. We went into a building phase, okay? We did not just put her into another fat loss phase. This is the phase that the female body, / anybody, needs to be in for majority of their time. You can have building phases upwards of a year, okay? Is that for everybody? No, but you could have it from 12 weeks all the way up to a year plus, depending on what your goals are. Why would you go into this phase? You would go into this phase to optimize your muscle tissue. You want to build muscle. You want to maintain muscle. You want to get hormonally and metabolically healthy. This is the phase that your body needs to be in. This is like that off-season phase, right? I did a lot of my girls and I did bodybuilding. My off-season is what determined my in-season. And so I had to actively really work in my building phase, build my muscle, maintain it, build my intake up for me to see what I wanted to see in my cutting or fat loss phase. Same thing for women. This is a very active phase. If you want to see that lean, toned, defined look in the mirror, this is by far the most important phase for you. Literally by far. If we don't go into this phase, you will not see what you want to see. And so for some women, for me, for example, I tend to gain muscle pretty easy. It's not very hard for me. So I'll just stay at my maintenance intake. So let's say my maintenance is like 2,500. I'll just stay at 2,500. For other women, they have more of a leaner frame. They don't gain muscle as easy, right? So this is where they're actually going to go into a surplus, which means above what their maintenance intake is at, okay? So when will we do this? You'll do this whether you're pretty low energy or sleep issues from a deficit, after a reverse diet or a fat loss phase, or if your goal is to build muscle or perform really well, this is the phase for you, okay? How will we do this? We will either stay at the exact intake your maintenance is at. For mine's 2,500, I'd stay at 2,500, or you might strategically increase your intake into a surplus if you really want to either A, actively build a lot of muscle, or B, you have a really lean frame and you want to gain muscle, gain weight. you will go into a surplus. So this example for you guys of what a building phase is a client comes in wanting to build/see muscle with having difficulty gaining weight or gaining muscle. Okay, Leah here, she has a pretty lean frame. She has to house a lot of food in her body to build muscle. Okay, and so the plan for her was to take her through a strategic building phase to put more muscle on. She might need a surplus maintenance intake above her maintenance intake. So let's say for me, for example, if I wanted to be at a surplus, I'd need 2,800 calories versus 2,500 to really build a good amount of muscle. Or another example for you guys is client has a big body composition goal. She wants to look her best ever. So let's say she has a wedding coming up. She wants to look hot as ever for that wedding coming up. She wants to look toned with her muscles defined. She has 8 months to get there. So what we would do is we would keep her at her maintenance intake, her building phase intake, right? And then we would progress her into a fat loss phase in the future. But we need to build muscle. We need to build muscle for her body to get there, okay? Like I shared with you guys in other modules, muscle is so important. It is the most metabolically active tissue in your body, okay? It helps your metabolism, it helps your thyroid, it helps all your hormones. It helps also you want to see what you want to see in the mirror. And so women, do not be afraid of muscle. If you go into a building phase, you're not going to hulk up and like hit a door frame. If you want to, all the power to you, right? But you are not going to just massively gain muscle and just be all this big ball of muscle, okay? In this phase, you should gain fat, you should gain muscle at the same time. You can't have one or the other. But our goal is here really to build muscle for longevity, for your health, for your physique, for your strength, okay? And then last but not least here, this is the fat loss phase. This is the phase that 85% of women want to be in, but are not ready for, or they don't realize this is a small portion of your whole entire journey, okay? This is our in season, when really our whole entire journey is also off season too. Off season is reverse diet. Off season is building phase. This is our small little October to March. That's way too long for fat loss, but like my basketball season, October to March, versus the entire other off season that I had and I needed for my body. Okay, so goal of a fat loss phase, you might also hear it called cutting phase. Those can be interchangeable, is obviously to lose fat and to decrease body fat. Okay, to really lean out. I also like to say to see your badass muscles that you've built. All right, you want to see the definition, see the toned look in the mirror. This is the phase that you will go in at the end. Why? Whatever your reason is. I don't care what your reason is. You want to see the hard work that you've built. For me, I just like seeing definition in the mirror. It makes me excited, makes me proud, makes me see my hard work that I put in every single day. I just like that physique, right? So whatever goal you have for you, go for it. There is no, it is not too shallow. It is not vain to want to look the way that you want to look, all right? When you will do this after a reverse diet or after a building phase, okay? We need you at your peak. Okay, meaning we need you at a higher intake to be able to strategically take you into a fat loss phase. How will you do this? We will adjust your carbs and fat. We'll keep your protein where it's at. We'll adjust your carbs and fat and or cardio for a maximum of 18 to 20 weeks, okay? So this is where we'll strategically adjust you as your body responds and as you get to your goal, okay? So this is where we most likely will decrease your intake and then increase your cardio. So here are a few little examples. This is me, for example, when I was in a fat loss phase. Once again, I was doing bodybuilding, so mine is pretty extreme. But this is me going into / towards a fat loss phase. So client A comes in, for example, wants to look amazing in her beach vacation 6 months away. What do? We reverse diet her to get her to her maintenance, and then she goes into her fat loss phase to peak her around her vacation, to look the best and feel the best that she ever has around her vacation. Okay. Second, client comes in wanting to lose 50 pounds. Beautiful. All right. We'll probably get her to her maintenance. We'll take her into a fat loss phase. It might take a few phases of fat loss phases to reach her end goal. Very normal. Okay. Your body actually responds usually better in the second fat loss phase than the first one. And so this might look like maintenance, right? A building phase. Take her into a fat loss phase, reverse diet, go into a building, get her body healthy again, and then going into another fat loss phase to reach her end all be all goal. Very, very normal, okay? So overall, we have a cutting your fat loss phase, leading out to the goal, reverse dieting, building your metabolism back up, body recomp, and then a building phase, building or maintaining muscle mass, increasing your strength, being a badass in the gym. All right. All of these 3 phases will be used strategically together to get you to your end goal. All of those are insanely important to get you to your end goal. And so last thing here is keys to these phases is number 1, consistency. Okay. This is by far one of the most important pieces to actually get you in and out of phases. It is a non-negotiable to be consistent to achieve your short and long-term goals. Adherence is insanely important. If you want to get to your goals as efficiently as we can, doesn't mean perfect, but it means we got to be pretty damn consistent. It means we probably got to track 6 to probably 7 days in our ranges so we can really max out your results. Does it mean perfection? No. Does it mean you're not going to have some days that are off? No. But it means I need you to hone in on consistency for us to progress you appropriately. I've had some clients that they just weren't consistent, right? They would be some days at 150 gram carb, other days 250, other days 90, other days 120. They were everywhere. Their body cannot, if I adjust anything, it won't know a difference. So we need consistency for your body to actually notice an adjustment and to adjust to that, okay? So for you to max out your results, consistency, non-negotiable. Second thing, one of the hardest for me in my journey was to trust the process, okay? There is a method to the madness. I almost gave up on my whole journey because my coach had me eat actually a good amount when I first started with him. And I was like, you're out of your damn mind. Like, you might not know my goals, but my goal is not to gain weight. My goal is to actually lose it. Little did I know, I didn't know about reverse dieting. I didn't know about under eating. I didn't know about all of the things that I now know about, right? So I really had to lean in. I had to trust the process. Thank God I did, because I'm here today, right? Now I'm teaching this to other people. But like I said, you might not understand it, but ask your coach if you're a part of our coaching team and trust the process. Be into the process, trust the process. And then lastly here, this kind of goes with it, is be active in your process, okay? Communicate your fears, communicate your worries, communicate your hesitations, communicate your wins, communicate your losses. We are not expecting perfection if you're a part of our coaching team. We are not expecting every day to be amazing, but we are expecting and have a standard of you being active in your process, okay? I can give you the most perfect meal plan, the most perfect macros. If you are not actively working them, it does not matter, all right? And so this is where you and I, or you and your coach, are a team to actually get you to those results, short and long term. So we talked all thing macro phases. This is a hefty one, okay? We will go into all of these phases in these subsequent modules. But remember, we have that fat loss phase, we have a reverse dieting phase, and we have a building phase. All 3 are important to get you to reach your goals.